Hey guys, XRCroon42 here, back with my promised review of the Rapido Wisbech and Upwell tramway train pack. It's a little bit difficult to get it all on camera with my current setup. See. Now, basically, so before I unbox it, I have something fun to show you guys. See, last year in like January or February, I bought one of the Model Rail J70s for one specific purpose. I'm a fan of the Railway series books and the later show Thomas the Tank Engine. So I bought a Rapido J70 back then to create for myself a realistic depiction of Toby the Tram Engine. He's simply modeled after the illustrations in the books. And overall, when I first got this, I thought it was a pretty good model. The primary issue I had with this is that, like, for some reason it was jamming up when I put it on the track. I took the body off, then it ran just fine, put the body back on, and it ran just fine again. I have no idea what was going wrong or how I fixed it. It just kind of runs fine now. I'm interested to see how the new set compares, because I found that this one is not particularly strong at the slow speeds. It's a bit jerky and hit and miss. The other key difference there is that is an analog model. I ordered the sound-fitted version of this pack. Because for those of you who don't know, Audrey actually established Toby's BR era running number in his book, The Island of Sodor, Its People, History, and Railways. If you track the running number of that particular engine back to when it was first built under the Great Eastern, it was number 127. So when Rapido announced that they were making number 127 in a train pack with the proper coaches with a sound-fitted option, I had to go for it. This also marks officially the last new release I will have got from Hatton's. So we've got the instruction manual here. I'll have a read through it. I'll have a read through this later, because Rapido are typically pretty good, not only about providing everything you would ever need to know about the model itself, but also I love their sense of humor. Body removal, sound function list, installing accessories. See, everything's in here. And then the instructions for applying the details for the coaches. And some artwork of the later Great Eastern livery version they did. And warranty. And then the full exploded diagrams showing all the parts. Clearly these are very complex models. Let's pull the foam off. Look at that. We've got the accessory pack. We've got the tanks that go on the other side of the coaches. We've got open and close options for the front of the doors. Some extra handrail and brake rigging pieces. Interestingly, I don't see spare cow catchers anywhere. The instructions said those should be there, but they're not. Unless, yeah, they're not there. Thankfully, I have an extra from my other J70 that I can use. Here, let's go ahead and get these out. Start with the coaches. I've never seen these before in the flesh. First impressions, the finish is beautiful. Can already tell that the quality is good, but everything's so fine scale that it's going to be pretty delicate. Got the correct running numbers, correct detail variations for both coaches, obviously. Got that. Yeah. Yeah, that electrical cable on top of there. Other coaches have it mounted properly. I may do some research to see if I can figure out how these are actually mounted on the real coach. One of these is preserved. The other one was scrapped. Get the end of that. And it's really difficult to catch on camera, but these have interior detail as well. And all the underframe detail too. Of course, perfectly free rolling as usual from Rapido. Look at that. Surprisingly sturdy brake rigging too. Yeah, the way you mount those extra tanks is you have to take off these couplings to put them in place. If I remember correctly, yeah. There's a builder's plate on the end there. Look at that. The glazing is immaculate. That Great Eastern crest. It's a bit difficult. There we go. Look at that. That is beautiful. And impossible to make it sit still. That's a good sign. There's one thing you want in rolling stock. It's for it to be free rolling. Let's check out the other one here. And we see, wow. The more I look at these, the more details there are to pick out. Look at that. And here we see sort of the detail variation. They've got accurately modeled segments inside the coach for the different classes of passengers. You can't make these sit still, and that's a really good thing for running. It means they'll be really easy to haul. Got that gangway. And razor lower. Buffers are not sprung. Yeah, these are exquisite. Let's get on to the main show here. The J70 herself. Number 127. As we can already see, the roof detailing is immaculate. Bit of a grill on top of the chimney. I must say the bell looks better on this one than it does on the other one. Ever so slightly. See, the one I'd originally bought was an LNER livery. So glad we have pre-grouping versions now. Got those real chains hanging down from the side. Got the proper GER lining. No etched plates for that number plate, unfortunately. If you're looking through the front, you can just barely see some of the detail on the front of the smoke box. It is fully detailed in there. It's exquisite. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and break her in. I don't feel like going into a huge amount of detail on these because these J70s have been on the market previously. It was mainly the coaches that meant showing. I love that we have these in pre-grouping variants now. I'm going to get her running in. And like I said, I have the sound version, so then we'll go over the sound functions and then have a running session. And now we are trackside. Running in is complete. And that went without a hitch. No derailments or issues like that at all. I did have one brief cutout, but a cleaning of the track section fixed that. So now, let's get her sound on. Check out some sound functions. Nice. Yep. Sound quality seems to be very good. Swap her to forward. Oh, wow. I've never seen that before. There's a full-on reverser sound effect for when you swap her directions. That's awesome. She is loud. Wow. I can tell you, my other J70 can't do anything like that in terms of the crawl. I do have to bear in mind that this is on DCC, so I can't exactly judge it the same, but based on the fact that it can do this boosted with DCC, suggests to me that its analog performance is also pretty good. That is lovely. That is marvelous. That is marvelous. How they crammed a sound system this good into a loco this small, I'll never know, but that is amazing. And now let's get her coupled up to the coaches. Look at that. That is marvelous. I have to say, I also noticed that her acceleration and deceleration settings are very, very, very realistic. She's still decelerating. And there's the brakes. Oop, she's not coupled. Guess I backed her up a little too gradually, huh? Here, let's just... There we go. few randomly triggered sound effects there. The deceleration is super gradual. I love the out-of-the-box DCC settings on this. Marvelous. I've actually put off filming this final segment for a while, simply because I wasn't entirely sure how to go about grading the performance of a DCC fitted model, because I wasn't sure how much input the decoder would have on that over the motor itself. This is where I come to my big shout out to That Model Railway guy. He was very helpful in determining this. Basically, his piece of advice was that if the decoder does not really improve the performance of the motor itself that much, it pretty much just smooths out the electrical connection. So if the model can crawl really well on DCC, it can probably crawl really well on analog too. So based on that, there will simply be one additional category in my ratings here, and that being the DCC settings. I'll get to that in just a second. But for now, detail rating, 4.5 out of 5 for this whole set. The J70 has full interior detail, like all of the boiler and the gauges and the cab and everything on there are all fully detailed. It's really difficult to show on camera, but it's all there. Accessories, I can only give a 4 out of 5 though. It has the tanks for the coaches, and the J70 has everything you could want short of crew figures, and the fact that it was actually missing the full-ended cow catchers that the instruction book said it would have, which seems like an issue to me. I actually pulled this from the accessory bag of my other J70. Yeah, these are simply exquisite. So the overall performance, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. It's real smooth and consistent right down to the slowest of speeds. And based on what I've seen from other people looking at the same set on analog, I would have to agree that like the decoder didn't have much impact on the actual performance of it. And that brings us into the options. That brings us into the rating for the DCC settings, which I have to give a 5 out of 5. The current control out of the box is phenomenal, and they did a really good job setting it up so it feels like you're operating a realistic engine. I have to like predict where it's going to stop when I try to stop it. If I want it to stop in a particular place, I have to start cutting out the speed controls quite a while beforehand, because it has the momentum like a real engine right out of the box. The settings are phenomenal, and the sound quality is really good too. Like, this surprises me. Like, this engine is smaller than the tender on a Hornby J36, and they managed to fit motor, decoder, and speaker all in it, and have it all work properly and sound great. For quality, 5 out of 5. No wonky details, no loose parts. Everything feels very sturdy and rugged. And value for money, I'm going to call this a 4 out of 5. You get a full train. You get a full accurate train in this set. Even at the regular MSRP, that's like 250 some pounds. That's still, even if you calculate that as you're paying the full price for the coaches, you're still getting like a 50 quid discount on the engine in that setup, and that's a pretty good deal to me. And that'll be all for now. Have a good one.